Hi, everyone. This is Eric Martin from the band Mr. Big, the handsome one that stands right in the middle. That's me. And you're listening to Music Mania Podcast.
Thank you so much, man. I love talking about the things that I love, Clint. And for you to allow me to do it with you, I am the Music Mania Podcaster.
You wanted the best! You got the best!
We roll tonight to the guitar bite. And for those about to rock, I salute you.
You ready for some screaming heavy metal? Scream for me, Brazil! Scream for me, Brazil! We rock!
You are now listening to the Music Mania Podcast, brought to you by CD Warehouse in Gladstone, the #1 hard rock podcast in the Midwest, featuring hard-hitting interviews with rock's living legends. And now, here's your host, Clint Schweitzer.
Thanks once again for taking the time to hang out with me here on the Music Mania Podcast. We always appreciate it. We are launching into the spring and summer months, and while it might feel just a little bit different than years past, we are forging ahead. The interviews are coming fast and furious here on the podcast, and today it is no different. A show too big for just one guest, as we're going to be welcoming H.E.A.T drummer Don Crash, as well as Brandon Cook from the band The Loyal Order. H.E.A.T have quickly become one of my favorite newer bands. The band was formed in 2007. They feature singer Erik Grönwall, who was known for winning Swedish Idol back in about 2010. For those unfamiliar, H.E.A.T are a band from Sweden that absolutely embodies the sound of 80s melodic hard rock, and their new album, H.E.A.T 2, throw away the record books. This is the album of the year. There is no question about it. Fans of melodic hard rock, you're in for a treat. H.E.A.T 2 is an album that just doesn't politely knock on your door. Rather, it sees the band roll up in a 49-ton bulldozer, run over your lawn, crash through the door, and bulldoze right through your house and onto the other side. This is a no-holds-barred, take-no-prisoners, earth-shattering slice of classic melodic hard rock where every single element is simply perfect, and every element helps make the other aspects of the album sound even better. The album production is outstanding. We're going to be talking to Don Crash about the band's journey, about hiring Erik Grönwall back in 2012 and how that changed the course for the band. Of course, we've had on bands like Crazy Licks on the show before, which, by the way, their album in 2019, which is Forever Wild, was my album of the year in 2019. And already in 2020, I've got my album of the year. It is H.E.A.T 2. It is an absolute, as the review from Melodic Rock stated, a slice of melodic hard rock heaven. They were on the Monsters of Rock cruise just before the pandemic, so we're going to be talking with Don about that, how they were affected and how things going forward, how it's kind of halted their momentum, so to speak. Hopefully they're able to get that back. We're also going to be talking to Brandon Cook, the guitarist from the band The Loyal Order. He's also the guitarist in 80s hard rock band Black and Blue with Jamie St. James. We'll talk a little bit about that, but The Loyal Order is a band that's on David Ellefson's label, the EMP label group. We're going to be talking to him about their single Ready for Dead, which is tremendous, and it's getting a lot of notoriety on the hard rock charts right now. So, new guests. I can't wait to get into it with Brandon Cook. Definitely Don Crash. He joins us all the way from Sweden via Skype. So let's, without further ado, because what else is there to talk about? I'm not going to any concerts. I'm not covering any shows. This show is all about the interviews, especially right now. So let's go ahead and take you to our first interview this week, which is with H.E.A.T drummer Don Crash. What's been up? How are things going in Sweden? What's it like over there right now?
Well, right now in Sweden, the weird thing is that Sweden is kind of like normal, actually. But the rest of Europe is all under lockdown.
Well, that's good. The Scandinavia at least is unscathed, and I actually have a trip to Iceland planned this summer. So if you could keep that part of the country, keep it safe and okay, that'd be great. Because yeah, I'm trying to get out there this summer. So hopefully things continue to be okay there, man. I know it's a tough time. You guys had a bunch of shows this summer and a lot going on for the band, so I know that's an unfortunate part of it for sure.
Yeah, all bands, all tours are canceled or postponed. But man, that Iceland trip, fingers crossed, man.
Yeah, we'll hope for that. So you guys, right before all this happened, H.E.A.T plays the Monsters of Rock cruise, which is huge. How much fun was that? And, it's funny because that was kind of the last big thing that kind of happened before all this happened. And how important do you think that was for you guys as far as kind of a doorway maybe for future, full scale tours of America, since, it was kind of an American cruise, a lot of people from all around the world, but, maybe a good doorway to an American audience.
Yeah, sure. You're totally right about both things. I mean, we were really, really lucky. I mean, everybody on board were lucky to be able to go there at all. I mean, that must have been one of the last cruises to happen because of the Corona. Corona was just starting to take over the world when we went there, but we went there. We had a good time. We had a blast. That was amazing. And we got back safely, and that was it. But I guess we were kind of lucky to go there at all. But as you say, yeah, sure. It's a big doorway to the American audience because, America, it's far from home. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so many bands wound up singing your praises kind of after this performance. I know our good friend Lorraine from Vixen, the singer from Vixen, said that you guys were the best band on the cruise. And a lot of bands came out and just said, wow, this band H.E.A.T is amazing. And Lorraine told us personally, she goes, that they were the band of the cruise. And you had Eric jumping in the pool. You had just this great performance on the deck, man. It was just one of those magic things. And hopefully for you guys, that helps catapult you to future success, man, because these other bands sing those good things about you. That's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and I'm glad to hear that. And I've heard other people say good things as well. But I don't know. We just we just had a good time. We just do what we love and what we always done, kind of. But as we're touching on it, it's a new market for us. We've played only a few shows in America, a couple of festivals, but this is hopefully a good gateway to more America tours in the future.
Well, I think so, Don, because I'll tell you this, we don't usually give out Album of the Year awards this early in the year, but I'm telling you what, close it up, it's over. H.E.A.T 2 is the hard rock album of the year, and I don't think it'll be contested or close. Man, this album has gotten rave reviews everywhere. It's only been out a few months. What's the reception been like from it? Because so many outlets, including ours, including Melodic Rock and so many more, have praised this album as a 10 out of a 10, 100% classic album. H.E.A.T 2 is sweeping the nation, my friend. This has got to be a great feeling for you guys.
Yeah, really. It's fantastic. And I'm glad to hear that we're a strong contender for Album of the Year. Thank you very much. Let's fingers crossed that we make it. But also, this goddamn virus, man. Release a killer album, and now we can't tour at all.
Right.
So we released it in February, and we were supposed to be going next week. We were supposed to go on a European tour for a month, new city each day, and we already postponed a Japan tour, and it's just everything's getting moved further and further. And I saw Mike Portnoy, the drummer, him, right?
From Dream Theater. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. He posted something on Instagram that some health expert said that we can't expect any concerts until late 2021.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know if it's true, but man, weird times to play in a band.
I know, and I saw that too, and as someone that's what I do. I cover concerts. I'm on the road, especially during the summertime. I'm on the road all over the country, covering shows, doing interviews. And when that comes to an end, bands, everybody gets, feels the backlash to this. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't see that being the thing. I mean, you may be talking about, like Motley Crue's Def Leppard Stadium tour. That's going to be something, maybe you can't put 40,000 people in a place, but I think that on a small scale touring, surely will come back. And I just hate that for bands like H.E.A.T. But good friends of ours, Crazy Licks, great friends of ours. They were our Album of the Year last year with Forever Wild. So
All right, cool. Right
Both
on.
bands from Sweden. I love both of you guys, and it's just like bands like you guys need that jolt. A band like Kiss, their tour dates get postponed, not a big deal. But for you guys, man, you need to be out on the road. That's the hard part of this, isn't it?
It really is. But I've been trying to kind of explore the possibilities of the internet and technology. So I've done a couple of live streams with me and my drum kit. Well, not my real acoustic drum kit, but with me and a digital drum kit and a microphone, doing some live streams, and fans join there and they can chat with me and I can reply through the microphone, and I play songs that they request. And I played all singles from the new album H.E.A.T. I've played on my YouTube channel, Dawn Crash, and I keep posting videos to keep the fans entertained, kind of.
Oh yeah, that's tremendous. And it's funny, we actually had a question from the Facebook page from Travis Smith, who wanted to know kind of what you're up to during quarantine and if you guys will consider doing an online show together. Obviously, you're doing some streams, which is amazing, and that's great. Everyone to follow your YouTube channel there, Dawn Crash. But have you guys thought about doing kind of anything together, like a Zoom type thing? I know this is all kind of new technology for people, but any chance that happens?
Of course, that's those kind of things, or playing an entire show online with a band. Those kind of things are awesome. But I think right now that this virus just took the spirit out of us, kind of. And also we have kind of a baby boom in the band right now. So everyone's just kind of trying to see this as an opportunity to spend time with their families and take some time off, because the tours are canceled anyway. So we're just chilling out, catching our breath, and making plans for the future. But so I think I'm the only one that's kind of active, in exploring those online kind of things. And
yeah, so you mean no babies for you? You're the only one that's managed to stay kid-free here?
Yeah, I managed so far. Let's see
yeah,
how
me
it
too.
goes.
I'm 36. I've managed for 36 years. It's been great. But yeah, I heard Eric has had a child, so I didn't know. Did someone else? Was there another little heat baby born during this time?
Yeah, Jimmy.
Okay, awesome.
Jimmy, bass player,
Awesome.
Jimmy J. He got a baby, and Jonah T has a baby. It's almost 2 years now, but
well, you're going to have to play catch up somewhere down the road here. The production for this album, Don, I'll tell you, the production is through the roof. The sound is so huge. Everything comes through as just this giant hard rock, melodic AOR piece of just heaven. You guys kind of went a different direction with the production of this album, and you kind of kept it in-house. Talk about that and kind of the production of this album. I mean, this is one of the best produced albums I've heard in a long time. So you've done something right here.
cool. Well, thank you very much. Wow, so kind words.
Of course.
But I don't know really. We just try to not make it too complicated this time. We have Dave DeLone and Jonah T. They produced this album, but and they did a great job as well. They wrote most of the songs, but it really felt kind of that we were just a band. Before, when we had external producers, it was like the band and the producer. But now it just felt like the band, like we normally rehearse or record songs or play songs or whatever. Just chilling out, doing what we do, what we love, and that's how you make a killer album.
It is truly fantastic. I mean, you talk about the videos you guys have released. I think you've done one for Come Clean, for a lyric video for Rise, and Dangerous Ground. I think those are the 3 videos you've done so far.
Sure.
All
Yes.
tremendous. What kind of take us through that process of kind of getting those singles out the way you have, because normally for albums prior, you would only have maybe 1 single or 2, and you guys are kind of rolling them out here. Is it just kind of a matter of trying to get the most songs out there and get kind of videos out so people can consume it that way?
I suppose that that was probably a call of the record company, basically. I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, just to have more singles than previously, and more videos.
They're tremendous. Do you have kind of a favorite song so far? Because mine has kind of switched around. I think it started off maybe with Heaven Must Have Won an Angel, but right now it's Adrenaline. Like, I don't know, I just went skydiving like not that long ago, and I was like, I got video of it. I was like, I'm gonna use that song. I'm gonna license it properly, of course. I'm gonna use that song like for the video. Adrenaline right now, Don, my favorite song on the album. What say you?
Whoa, yeah, Adrenaline is a great choice.
Yeah.
It's a cool song, and cool that you do skydiving. I'd love to do
Absolutely.
that sometime.
Oh, hell yeah. Adrenaline's awesome. But I think a song like Rise actually is important right now because as I hear it more and more, I'm like, the lyrics, no one can make us hide away. That that's kind of had some foresight there. You guys kind of predicted the future a little bit with that one.
Well, maybe. Yeah, Rise is a really cool song too, but I'd say Victory, because Victory
Yep.
is a song that it stands out a little bit towards the other songs. So I'd say for me, Victory is probably my favorite right now, but it kind of changes, and I really look forward to play Victory and all songs live. But back to this goddamn virus.
No, that's why whenever you guys come back, you got to open with Victory because we will have achieved victory over the damn virus.
Yeah.
Don, you've been a part of this from the beginning. I mean, you go back to 2007. I mean, the inception of H.E.A.T. Just kind of talk about your guys' journey because Eric Gronwall didn't join the band until 2010, but talk about kind of your journey forming the band, and then Eric joins in 2010 and kind of what an injection of life he's been for you guys. Obviously, just a tremendous singer. I remember seeing him on YouTube covering like Run to the Hills by Iron Maiden, and he was like 20 years old. And I'm like, that guy's amazing. Fast forward a few years down the road, he's a singer in H.E.A.T. It all worked out great, didn't it?
It really did. We had another guy before Eric called Kenny Leckremo.
Yep.
He was also a praised singer, but I don't know, something happened. I don't really know why, because he felt, when Kenny was in the band singing, he felt like a natural part of the band, and like we were going to be together forever. But then he left the band. He kind of faded away. Things were starting to move for this band. We were releasing our first album was praised, and we were starting to tour, and then in 2010, like three years after we started the band, he kind of, I don't know, something happened, and
it didn't work out. Yeah,
and it didn't work out, kind of. And then we were like clueless. We were like, so what do we do now? How do we find a singer like Kenny? How's that supposed to work? Can anybody sing like Kenny? And then we saw, just like you, we saw this this blonde little fella on YouTube singing his ass off, his lungs out, and we were like, whoa, that would be such a great fit. So I in a sneaky way, I reached out to him, not just dropping the question, but I was like, our singer can't make it to one of our shows. We need a stand-in. Would you be interested for that? And he didn't have time, but I was like, can I send you some CDs? And he was like, okay, sure. So I sent some CDs, and they dropped in his mailbox, and he started to hear a rumor around town that H.E.A.T was looking for a singer, and he didn't know H.E.A.T before we started to, take our devilish plan into action. And he has told me afterwards that he went to Smooth. It was just it just happened. He just like Kenny faded out of the band. Eric just faded into the band, kind of. Then we released Address the Nation in 2012, I think, which is H.E.A.T's third album, and the first one with Eric as a singer. And that was also the first time we had Tobias Lindell as a producer and a mixer. Tobias really gave us a killer sound that we have had on all albums since the third one. So the first two albums sound really different. They were mixed by a guy called Michael Blum, and they sound like uber retro, kind of like 1982.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah,
But
I would agree.
not in
yeah.
a powerful way, but in a kind of like a real retro vintage way. And then comes Destination, like boom, with this modern sound and heavy sound, big sound. And I think this latest album, H.E.A.T, reminds a lot of the Destination and probably Tearing Down the Walls sound as well.
Yeah, that's very accurate. I would say that, because Into the Great Unknown, whereas I think it had some really good, strong songs on it, H.E.A.T 2 is more of a progression. Do you feel like that H.E.A.T 2 is sort of the album that you guys have been working towards your whole careers?
Yeah, sure. But I also think that kind of, if you like H.E.A.T 2, there's probably going to come another album that you're going to like as much, because we're not going to stop.
Right. Absolutely. That's tremendous to hear, of course. The band, you guys have, it's amazing that you've been around for as long as you have. And what is it about the country of Sweden? And I know you get asked this a lot, but personally, we've interviewed members of Crazy Licks, Hardcore Superstar. These are all, there's tremendous bands that come from Sweden. And I'll tell you, the rock climate in America hasn't been great for quite a while, but so many of your type of bands that kind of harken back to a more melodic hard rock sound, we don't have that in America. What's going on in Sweden that has inspired all of these bands?
Well, I'd say I think there's probably, well, are you talking about the number of bands or kind of the genre?
Both, like the number of bands and the genre. I mean, I know at one point it was called the new wave of Swedish sleaze, whatever you want to categorize it, but that all these bands kind of cut from the same cloth, from that kind of AOR melodic hard rock sound, whereas in America it's just kind of a hodgepodge. You don't get a lot of that, even though the American hard rock in the 80s was thriving and kind of had that same sound. But now in Sweden, it's been kind of a movement. Kind of how do you think that happened?
Okay, maybe I think that there's several answers. There's some cool answers, and then there's some boring answers as well.
Well, let's hear them all.
Sometimes we say it's in the water, or we get the melodic rock in the breast milk, the heritage of Europe and all that. But also in Sweden, we have a social security system, which I think allows a little bit more creative freedom for people if they wanna. We pay a big chunk of our salaries in taxes, but we also get a social security net back. If we get unemployed or looking for a job, we can get some money from the government. And I think a lot of bands utilize that to kind of they use it to start bands and write music, but they are kind of in this social system. But the government help. They have a big budget for culture things as well, and maybe that's the thing that allows bands to explore super cool, awesome genres like 80s melodic rock, even though that's very, very, very un-mainstream right now. It's not very commercial. It's not very mainstream. There's no money. There's not as much money in it as if you aim for the radio, something super commercial. I mean, it is commercial. 80s melodic rock is commercial, but it's commercial rock from another time, right, which makes it kind of underground these days. And maybe it's that kind of the political system in Sweden that allows bands to go for that fantastic genre, but yeah, and they don't have to do it for the money.
That's interesting. I had never thought of it from that perspective before. That and all Swedes are just so good looking. What else are you going to do? You might as well be a model or in a band. So what that's the answer that I always hear, that it's in the water or the breast milk. That's why actually I was going to come visit Sweden, but then I saw the movie Midsummer and now I'm terrified. I don't think I can come. Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't. I've
Well,
seen
it's
the
about a
Swedish Midsummer,
Swedish.
though.
It's about it's about a midsummer festival in Sweden that's actually a cult, and they wind up killing everyone. So it's made Sweden look absolutely beautiful on film, but then I guess there's a risk involved there. But Crash, I want to get to your style of drumming, because I got to read you this from Melodic Rock when it comes to reviewing the album. It said about you that Crash drums like an absolute madman, who's playing not only more powerful and bombastic than ever, but it's also more technical and truly ear-shattering. Have you ever heard such a great compliment, and where do you get kind of your drumming style from? Who are your drumming influences?
Wow, fantastic. I feel humble.
I know, I wish I would have written that. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I wish I could take credit. That's awesome.
But sometimes, at the same time, I feel that on this album, since we did, as I talked about, it felt like we were kind of a band just doing what we do, and I kind of did what I did, and there was nobody to stop me. So that's why I kind of took out the turns. Can you say that? Is that a Swedish expression? I don't know if I just directly translated, but I did what I felt like. I didn't try to make it over easy, as we often do when we record music. It's like less is more, less is more, less is more. But I tried to play what felt natural, kind of, and that I got to play around a lot. And maybe that shows. Maybe you can hear that on the album, in the drums. But okay, so to the inspiration, Mike Portnoy, sure.
Wow.
Great drummer. And early on, I listened a lot to Pantera, Vinnie Paul. I tried to play death metal for a while. That was fun. Many years ago, though. So I played some Slipknot songs, Joey Jordison. But also Lars Ulrich. Man, I love his way of drumming. If you look at him as a performer and a musician and a member of a band, I think he's great. But if you only look at Lars Ulrich of Metallica, if you only analyze the way it sounds when he play, or the way the drum sounds when he hit him, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that.
I love that.
I just love the way he can entertain an audience from behind the drums. I love that. I get inspired by that. So I always try to do that. Big smile and big movements, and I try to have a great show there behind the drums.
Well, you always do, Don. I'm just such a fan of what you guys are doing, and I think H.E.A.T, like I said, it is an absolute monster album of the year. I'm shutting the case on that. It's already over. I can't thank you enough for joining us here from Sweden, here as we're just all kind of trying to get through this. It's been great being able to catch up with a lot of musicians during this time, because a lot of them are home and they're actually excited to talk to us. It's great. Unlike normal. No, I'm just kidding. They're always great. But Don, thanks so much, man. We got to get you guys to America. I've turned so many people onto your music, people that don't really have a clue about music that's going on in Europe and anywhere else. And I've been able to turn a lot of people on to H.E.A.T. You guys are incredible, and the album is tremendous. So thanks so much for joining us, man. And let's definitely stay in touch, and we'll definitely we'll keep in touch and do it again, my friend.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, sure. I hope so. I can just mention a thing I did a couple of days ago. Kip Winger reached out to me, and he wanted me to be in his music video, because he just released, it's out now. He released a music video to his song, to the song of the band Winger, Better Days Coming. And he wanted fans and artists and friends to film themselves when they sing that song, when they sing the chorus. And he made like a big collection, all-star music video of it. It's out now, but man, when the thing is that when he asked me about that, I came to think about that because you said what people are doing in these quarantine times, and that's one awesome thing that Kip Winger did. But the
Yes,
thing was
I
that
saw that. It was tremendous, and I didn't. I know our good friend Eric Martin from Mr. Big. Kip had asked him to do something for, I think, or they were going to do some version of Miles Away, maybe something similar to that down the road. So then I saw that pop up, and I didn't even realize you were involved. That's amazing. I love Winger.
I'm in there, but there's a great I do too. Um, Especially Winger was one of our big idols when we started the band, and he's still a legend. But
Oh my
the
gosh,
thing
it's
is,
amazing.
there's a fun story. I kind of forgot about the video, and I promised Kip to do it, and I realized like in the middle of the night when the deadline was 6 a.m. in the morning the following day. So, and I had been to a dinner, and I had some drinks, and I was tired, and I was drunk, and I felt something, and it went real crazy. It's a real crazy story, and I shot a video when I tell the whole story, and I also show the full footage the footage that I sent to Kip Winger, which is hilarious. I don't know if I'm a genius or retarded, but it was not quite what he asked for. I went
Oh my
bananas
God.
that night. But yeah, I told the full story, and I'm gonna upload it tomorrow on. It's my birthday tomorrow.
Happy early birthday, Crash. So the people can go to your Facebook page, which is Don Crash, and where else can they get a hold of you to watch
Sure,
that?
I'm gonna upload it to YouTube, Don Crash, but I'll post it on Facebook too.
Awesome.
I just think that that's a nice way to celebrate my birthday, since I can't have any big parties. I'd love
Yeah.
to share a good story, maybe some smiles out there to the world.
Well, happy early birthday, my friend.
Thank you.
You're one of just tremendous drummer, tremendous band in H.E.A.T, and we can't thank you enough. So yes, definitely check that out. I'm just on Kip Winger's page right now, and I have the video pulled up. So that's awesome. You guys are the best. We'll definitely stay in touch. And happy early birthday. Have a great one, as good as it can be, my friend.
Thank you very much.
You bet,
too.
Don. We'll
Take
keep in
care.
touch.
Wash
You
your
bet.
hands.
Yeah, I'm on it. Tremendous to catch up with Don Crash all the way from Sweden, just celebrating a birthday. And he talked about the momentum for the band is kind of thwarted here. Of course, it is for so many bands with COVID-19. I'm tired of saying the word. I'm tired of it. And we just have to get through it. United we rock. There is no better way to do it. So in the meantime, absolutely, unequivocally, if you never listen to anything else I say, go get the album H.E.A.T 2. Go to Spotify, go to iTunes, get H.E.A.T 2. If you are a fan of 80s hard rock, if you're a fan of hard rock in general, if you love melodic sounding guitars, a singer that soars over everything, crashing drums, band is for you. I highly recommend the songs Adrenaline, Rise, Living on the Run. This new album is tremendous. Heaven Must Have Won an Angel, great ballad from the new album H.E.A.T 2. Go check it out. It is tremendous. Let's go ahead and seamlessly transition this week to our second interview, which is Brandon Cook from the band The Loyal Order. The new single, Ready for Dead, getting a lot of play on the hard rock charts. And they have recently signed with the EMP label group. That is David Ellefson from Megadeth's label. Let's go ahead and go to that interview. Hey, Brandon, my friend. Thank you. Thanks for joining us, man. So sorry about the confusion. I had you guys down for tomorrow, but then I just realized with the publicist, with Jody, we hadn't decided if it would be you or Jeff yet. So I guess it's going to be you. So lucky us. Hey, that's all good, right?
That's right. I'm very excited to chat with you, man. This is going to be great.
Well, thanks so much for doing it. I guess the question, I hate that this always winds up being my lead off lately with all my interviews, but it's kind of, it's hard to move past it. It's just kind of, what's been up? What have you been up to? How have you been staying busy and stuff like that, my friend?
Well, the first thing I've been doing is I've been actually, I was lucky. I still had an Uber account active when everything went down. So I started immediately driving Uber Eats and doing deliveries for people, because I needed to make sure I had money. I got about, right in the first week, I had 2,000 worth of gigs canceled right away. So it was like, oh wow, that's $2,000 that was right near my hands. So I I got in the car and I drove. I think it was $1,300 in Uber the first week, and then about $1,000 every week since. So it's been like I've been kicking some serious butt, and I've been playing guitar and teaching lessons and doing online stuff as well. And in fact, when Jeff and I did our interview with Dave Ellefson and Tom Hazard a couple of weeks ago, I asked if they needed teachers for David's Youth Music Foundation, and they asked me to get involved. So it was really exciting for me to get to teach lessons sort of under their umbrella of teaching. So I'm going to be teaching some guitar lessons in the coming weeks, doing that too. I teach on my own also, but just really excited about this new thing.
Well, certainly, and we had David on just a couple weeks ago to talk about the Schools Out initiative, which is tremendous, and thanks for being a part of that. You're a part of the EMP label group as well, so obviously that's David Ellefson's label. So kind of take us through that. How did you get involved with EMP? They've done. It's been so great because their label for new and up and coming artists, for veteran acts, they really kind of cover it all. So talk about kind of how you became involved with them.
Well, Tom and Dave have been sort of public about they're working with young artists for a while now. We met Tom at the Dystopia Megadeth release party. I mean, it was super cool to us, and shook hands and did the whole political meeting kind of thing. And maybe a year later, he put out sort of an advertisement that they were going to start reviewing people's records, just to sort of give people like free A&R advice for what they should do with their bands. So Jeff and I saw that and decided we were going to get involved. And we had a different strategy, because Jeff has his own label called Buhner Media, so he's already funding the album. We're moving forward with the record, and Tom and Dave, as we started getting bigger and closer to the release of our album, I think they wanted to get involved, and we started a marketing plan with them, and that's what led us to doing these interviews. So we've been slowly working on. We did a video release last March 1st, and since then Tom helped us get 200,000 views on our first video for Ready for Dead, and that was really sort of hey, this guy can really help us take this music to market and get us real attention and stuff like that. We really believe in Tom, and he's just he's a genius. We watched him work people at the NAMM show, and he's just so connected with people, and he really just knows how to get work done. If he says he's going to do something, he does it, and we're just so grateful for his work. And David Ellefson's been very kind to us and give us some extra time, because of our relationship with Tom, and we're just really grateful to get to work with those guys. They're amazing people.
Tom is amazing, a renaissance man of sorts, from producing horror films, and he's part of the EMP label group. He kind of does it all, and it's tremendous that he's working with you guys. The single, of course, Ready for Dead, you were talking about, just absolutely tremendous. Huge fan of the song, huge fan of the video. Talk to us about this song, kind of what what the process was as far as getting this song out there, and then you talked about the video getting a lot of play thanks to the connections there. Just talk to us about the song Ready for Dead. It's tremendous, and kind of what the writing process was with that song.
The writing process was our producer Rob. We were trying to finish up our album, and our producer Rob Dacre had this great song, and Jeff really liked it, and he wanted to do it, and so we discussed how we were going to make that song sound like a Loyal Order song. That was the big part, because it was a written song. So I was kind of thinking, how are we going to make this sound like our band? And so I started working on a guitar arrangement, and Rob and Jeff really liked what we were doing. Jeff is always really integral about how, with me writing guitar parts, and I'm kind of integral with how his direction and lyrics goes. And, we write independently and together really well. So and when we work with Rob, he's always Rob Dacre, our producer. We have a really good dynamic of how to get things moving forward with a project. So we did a demo of the song, and it sounded really good. So we went forward with a we went forward with a studio drummer on this particular song because, we didn't have our lineup fully nailed down at the time yet. So this guy named Joe Mangus, who plays with, I can't remember the name of his band, but he plays with a really great band. I'm gonna look up their band while I'm talking, but he is just a slaying drummer, and he laid down a great track. And then Jeff worked on the bass part. I went and put my guitar parts down, and then the vocals really brought the song to shape, because Rob Dacre, the original songwriter, doesn't sing like Jeff at all. So, and there are different ranges and everything. So we dropped the key a half step and so that it sounded heavier. And Jeff's vocals are really harsh. They like have a really great rasp and just an amazing character. So that sounded really good and inspired me a lot. So I pulled out my whammy pedal and I said, I'm going to use this for the guitar solo. And everybody was really excited about the guitar solo. And so the whole thing came together rather quickly, we had maybe a month, and before the video was recorded, we had done the whole thing for maybe 2 months. And we sat on the video for a while because we wanted to make sure Tom could do for us what he needed to do. So we took about a year to really plan the marketing part of things. And I think that's one of the things we really have to do with like each one of our songs. We wanted to make sure that if we're going to put out a song, it has legs, so the melody itself has to be really strong and stand on its own. The arrangement has to be really great. We're trying to take a little bit more of an old school approach, like so that each song has its own individuality.
Yeah.
We don't want it to sound like, like the album is homogenous, like if you listen to an old Judas Priest record, like Screaming for Vengeance, they sound like Judas Priest all the time, but they have a really different sound on each one of their tunes, different grooves, different drum beats, different bass lines, different guitar approaches, really neat tones that they do. And, we try to take a little bit more of that approach when we write a tune. So when we came to Ready for Dead, we did exactly the same thing. And really I think the song came together better than we all even expected. So...
Well, yeah, absolutely. And certainly not to kiss your ass too much, but I'm telling you, the guitar, the riff is so memorable, and I love that. That's what always grabs me every time, when you're delving into new music, especially in the hard rock genre where we all live. That's what grabs me, and I think it's tremendous.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Well, take us through this, because the Loyal Order, as I understand it, was first kind of hatched as a studio project. You guys are out of Portland. And then it kind of culminates in you guys playing a show with Puddle of Mud, was kind of your debut show. Take us through that kind of situation and kind of how that all came to be.
So from the beginning, I can give you like a brief history of like the whole band.
Absolutely.
Like, the way we started was we were playing with. By the way, just before I go on, the drummer that I was telling you about, Joe Mangus, he's the drummer of the Eagles. Like the famous band, the Eagles. So anyway,
like the Eagles, yes, okay, yeah, that makes that makes sense now. They're
not the band that Jeff Lebowski hates. The Eagles.
I never understood that. I was such a Lebowski fan until he denounced the Eagles, and now I'm on the fence. But yes, awesome, the Eagles, yes. Well, we'll definitely have to pump them up too. So yes.
Cool. So we started off. We were playing with Delana. Jeff and I we had played with Tommy Thayer's brother, John Thayer, in Portland, Oregon, and we had become really good friends because I did a couple of shows with him and another group, and I played some Vivian Campbell solo that he was just like, "Oh my God, you played that solo right. No one plays that solo right." And I'm like, "Okay, well, thank you." And a couple weeks later, maybe a year later, he called me and he's like, Delana Robichaud is looking for a band. She goes by Delana Smith now, but at the time she had just kind of finished her touring cycle with the Rockstar the Rockstar Supernova thing, and she had just finished working with LA Guns.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
she was looking for a band, and Jeff called her. He had her number from previous NAMMs, and he was like, "You need a band, don't you?" And she's like, "Maybe. Send me something." So we sent her a demo, and from that, he and I realized very quickly that we could work together very well. We had the same eyesight for like not only talent but also like skill level, what we were aiming at, like the very high LA level, international level type of playing. And not that we were there yet, but we knew what we wanted. And in that little tour cycle that we did for that summer, we got a call from a TV show producer that he wanted a title track for his TV show called Off the Grid. And Jeff and I started writing, and we sat down and we created in about an hour 3 stems for one of these things. And then we went in, recorded it, got it done in about 3 hours, and then sent it to the guy. And he's like, that's all really good, but it's not quite what I'm looking for. So he came over to my house, and we wrote about an hour of talking. I had a riff in my brain, and we sat down to finish the song a couple months later. And we went to, after we finished the tune and recorded it, we went to the local rock and roll club here called Dante's Bar and Grill. We played it for a bunch of people, and we noticed the reaction was nothing like we'd ever seen before. We're buddies with all the original bands in town, and we love their music and everything, but we never seen anybody react to our stuff the way we saw that night. It was like, we kind of looked at each other like, is this real? I mean, are we seeing this reaction? This is 2012 when that happened. And we kind of tried to figure out how we were going to bring this thing to fruition, through, the Portland scene, because Portland scene is different than the LA scene. Not to say that anything's, bad here. It's just really good there, and we were like, okay, how do we find players that can do that, what we want, and then also we can work together and be in a band. And little by little, we went through some different people that we were working with, and they're all great, just not quite what we were looking for. And we got together with Rob Dacre in 2015. That's really where it started to solidify. It was the first, we had a drummer named Andrew Green working with us along the way. He's just sick drummer, just amazing drummer. I played with him in a Guns N' Roses tribute band. And we came across Joe because he just had a little bit more of what we were looking for with the band. And so in 2015, we recorded a song called The River with Rob Dacre. And again, we just had like this reaction of like, this is better, right? This is more in tune with what we're trying to do. And it really was. Rob had a sense of arrangement and melody and working with us and getting the best out of us in a different way than other producers that we work with. And so moving forward from that song, we started writing and, trying to get things really moving in the right direction. We re-recorded some songs that we did with a producer named Kevin Hahn. They were really great. It just was like, it was more of a, we were treating it more of a demo at the time. And then we kind of, Rob's studio just had higher ceilings and some other more, just different production styles. So we took those other songs and we wanted to make them match this song. So we recorded drums, we recorded guitars. We took those old songs into like a much more modern sound. And I think that's really what we're trying to go for, like modern.
Yeah.
We want to have classic, amazing, something that instantly sounds like classic music, but also in a modern production style. Like, I think if I was able to compare Rob's production style to modern rock, it would be like 30 Seconds to Mars, like Coheed and Cambria, Mars Volta, that kind of stuff, like 2000s and since, modern production, and not like modern bands that are trying to sound like 80s thrash or something like that. It's more like fully modern. And so I think Jeff and I really like having that kind of production on our tunes. And everything that we do that's like really extremely heavy or really light and beautiful, it's just, it always comes through. And so moving forward, we worked with a couple of different drummers, mainly Andrew Green and Joe Mangus. And then we came across a drummer named Kyle Baltus, and he told us directly that he wanted to be in the band. And it was like, oh, he actually wants to be in the band. Oh, well, that's interesting. Like, we're not really done this yet, but I think we want to have a drummer that wants to be in the band. Good idea. And it was just like, before that, as much as they were awesome drummers and good friends, I didn't really hear them saying, "I'm passionately interested in being in your band." And I went, okay, this guy's really passionately interested in being in my band. So me and Jeff talked about it, and we were kind of putting the lineup together for the first show. The first show was coming up, and we planned it a few months out to make sure that we had the right lineup. And I really had a strong feeling about using Patrick Young from Black and Blue in our band, because I'm in Black and Blue with Patrick Young. They're a classic 80s metal band. I'm not sure if you know them, but we used to have Tommy Thayer in our band.
And Jamie St. James, man, great guy. Right? Yeah, hell yeah.
Jamie St. James, very dear friend of mine. I just love that guy so much.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Yeah.
So much amazing experience working with those dudes, and we knew that Patrick had that level of what we wanted to play in this band. And Kyle's in 36 Crazy Fists, and then he's also in Light the Torch with Howard Jones, and we were just totally blown away that he wanted to play in our band. We're like, dude, you really want to play with us? And he's like, yeah, dude, let's do it. Okay, so killer rhythm section. Kyle and Patrick just lock up like unbelievable. I'm a super music nerd, so I pay attention to all that stuff. That's like my main focus in this group, is to make sure that all the music is like amazing, and of course Rob does that too, and Jeff does that too, but like that's my main focus. So those guys locked up, and then a guy I had been playing with I first started teaching him guitar when he was 15. Now he's in his 30s. So he went off, and after I taught him lessons for about a year, he went off and did bands in college, and we stayed in touch. And as soon as he got done with his bachelor's degree in college, we did a couple of really amazing concerts. One was a music that I had written called State of Balance, and that music's still around but not doing anything right now. And he and I always just had like a really great chemistry working together, because he knew what I wanted, and I definitely had what he wanted. So he was like, let's play together more. And I'm like, I think so. So there's kind of an age chasm between us, but it's just like the chemistry of like how our personalities work. It's like if he writes something, I'm like, yeah, that's really cool. Can you do this with it? And if I write something, he does the same. So guitar chemistry is really hard to find. Like I've worked with a lot of guitar players over the years, but like being able to create and then ask somebody to do something that's out of their comfort zone, not them getting upset with you, is definitely probably one of the hardest things to find in a musician.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly pushing boundaries like that. Like, can you do this? Would you be willing to try that? And he's always like, hell yeah, dude, let's try it. And okay, I'm excited now. So every time I get to play with Justin, it's just an absolute pleasure, when we work together. And he's outgrown the whole teacher-student thing. And he's like, hey, Brandon, does that riff really go like that? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, no. And he schools me a lot too. So it's like we've developed a really cool professional respect for each other as well. So that is where we come to the name of the band that we opened for again.
Puddle of Mud. And Wes Scantlin from Kansas City, Missouri, right here. He went to a neighboring high school from me. Wow. Puddle of Mud. It's one of those bands, that they've been in the news for some kind of some negative reasons over the years, but Wes Scantlin from my hometown here in Kansas City, and went to a neighboring high school. So you wind up playing with them in Portland, sold out show, and hopefully it went well. At least for you guys, anyway. It sounded like at least the show happened and it went well. So that's a good start.
Oh yeah, it went great. I mean, first of all, Wes was great. He was on time. He sounded great. The band was unbelievable. We actually knew one of the guitar players. We had met him at NAMM, earlier that year, and we were like, dude, you're the guy from NAMM. And he's a good friend of ours, or his buddy is a good friend of ours. And so we hung with him after the show, and they were all super nice. But our show went better than we could have ever expected. Jeff and I have been working on this thing for so long, and to have those guys just play our music the way we originally intended it, and even take it to the next level from the recorded performances. I think having guys in the band where you get to rehearse is so much different than being in the studio. I mean, our record sounds amazing. And then when they started playing our songs better than the record, it was like, oh my God, we have to do this more. So the recordings and as a guitar player, it was incredibly inspiring to me to come to rehearsal and everybody's like perfectly dialed in. You know, their tones are great, their drums sound great. You know, the background vocals are all in one piece. You know, they're all happening, and it's just so exciting. And I can't wait for the next show. Unfortunately, we have a little bit of wait for that, but we did a recording just a couple of weeks ago, a social distancing recording, where we played individually and it essentially like live individually for the internet. So that was really cool.
Yeah, the show you're talking about, I know I see you guys have one scheduled with Freaking Loudness, who I love. It's in November, at least as it's scheduled right now. Is that the show you're making reference to?
Oh no, this was the show that we put that on. That it was a live acoustic recording that we did. We put that on. Oh, Say Can You Scream? It was the Tom Hazard, David Ellison simulcast that they did.
Yes,
and
yeah.
It was actually an acoustic version of Ready for Dead. So
yeah, it was tremendous. So, but the as of now, the next show that you have on the books is the Loudness show in Portland.
Oh yes, sorry about that. Yes,
yeah.
It's there, and like it's a little bit daunting for me because I have to go and like play before Akira Takasaki, one of the greatest guitar players literally on the planet.
Oh my God, I know. I love that. Rock and Roll Crazy Nights, man. I love them. Then it's like it sucks because like Loudness, they're like constantly trying to tour the U.S. and always experiencing visa problems, and it's just like I hope that you know that everything goes well because they're one of those bands, man. Yeah, Akira is tremendous, great band. Definitely hope so. So what in the meantime? You said you guys missed some shows. Like how many shows that were on the books did you guys actually have to cancel so far?
For the Loyal Order, we were trying to get our CD release party set up for May and June, and that's not going to happen at this time. We're probably going to try to figure out some sort of simulcast situation to do. We had to cancel a festival that we were doing called Guitars Under the Stars because the festival got canceled, and I had a teaching situation there where I was going to be teaching a music camp the whole weekend and then performing at night with the Loyal Order, and that's canceled. And in my own life, my other not Loyal Order life, I've had to cancel, I think, basically the entire summer is canceled. So
right,
probably 10 or 15 shows.
Yeah, which it just impacts so many people different ways, but every single person we talk to has the same thing, and it sucks because like I was on my way back in March. I was on my way to a Kiss concert in Tulsa when kind of this all happened. That show got canceled, and it was just like a domino effect from there. And I'm just like, this is what I do. I cover concert. I cover entertainment and sports. That's what we do here. I cover college football, the NFL, and music and concerts. And that all went away. So it's like you're just sitting here like, oh my God. And thank God that there's new music from bands like you guys that I think people they're more receptive maybe to trying new music. And so that's good timing on that end, is that people are just maybe willing to give it a try because you're sitting home looking for something, and hopefully they find you guys and your single Ready for Dead, because it is tremendous. So hopefully some good comes of it.
So much. Say that again.
So I just hopefully some good comes out of that, whether you're some shows that can't be played or whatever, but hopefully more people are able to find the song, find the single at the very least, and some good comes of it.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of pushing on this thing, so I think at least 200,000 people have heard it online. So hopefully, I know that people don't typically buy music anymore. They mostly use it from streaming services and stuff like that. But we'd sure appreciate it if people bought the single, because we're starting this thing from the ground. We're from scratch, and we're paying self-financed for the most part. So when you hear it, just remember this isn't just record company like forcing us to do stuff. We've made these choices ourselves, and we're taking this to market ourselves.
Yeah, you can definitely grab it on iTunes. Go to it's on the website, theloyalorder.com. You can get the single and you can check out the video as well. So Brandon, I tell you, it's such a pleasure, and I just wish you guys nothing but the best. You guys are, what rock's all about, and the loyalty and the brotherhood that comes with this genre of music. And we talk about all having to stick together. That is right now indeed, and especially with bands like you guys. So we appreciate what you're doing, and we just hope you keep doing it, man. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate you too, man. Thank you so much, Clint, for having me on the show, and like this is an absolute pleasure for me and an honor.
Well, same for me, my friend. Thank you so much. We'll definitely have to catch up soon. Once things get back to normal, we'll get your guys' asses to Kansas City, and we'll do this thing right, my friend.
I am in for that. I want to play Kansas City.
Hell yeah, we'll make it happen, brother. Thank you so much.
Cool, thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks to Brandon Cook. Big thanks, of course, to Don Crash from H.E.A.T. We are keeping things rolling here on the Music Mania podcast. As you can see, we are not missing a beat. The interviews are stockpiling. I am backlogged with interviews. We've got some in the can already, some big ones coming up with German guitar wizard Axel Rudy Pell, with our good friend, the metal cowboy, Ron Keel, going to be joining us in the coming weeks. We have so much coming up. It is a really exciting time to be doing interviews. I would rather artists be able to be out there touring and making money, but in the meanwhile, while they're at home and entertaining us from home and making videos and releasing music, this is a perfect time to get some tremendous interviews for the podcast, and we can't thank our guests enough. Guys, we hope you enjoy what we do. Please hit us up on our website, which is ignitroentertainment.com. That's where you can get all of our interviews, past and present. Also, musicmaniapodcast.com will get you there as well. Always hope that you'll follow us on our social medias, Facebook and Twitter, and certainly Instagram. And as always, we hope you'll press that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, or Spotify. Any way you choose to take in the podcast, we always appreciate your star rating, leaving a review. It helps us. It helps in everything we do with regards to booking more guests and making this podcast even bigger. We want to continue to do that as we springboard into the spring and summer months. Hope that at least wherever you are, you're able to at least get outside, enjoy some time with your friends and family. Only 10 of you at a time, of course. But you know what? That time is nearing. We're going to start opening up this country, I do believe, and at least able to get into some kind of, crowds, able to get at least to the beach, go out, do something, sip a cold beverage, get outside with your friends, whatever it may be. And maybe one of these days, yes, you heard it right here first, maybe one of these days a concert will even be coming to a city near you.